for them, the most important ones are their 6 neighbours. Then plus 2, that is Russia and China. China is also a neighbour, but then and then comes countries like India, which is a big economy and has always helped the Afghan people in the country. So the Taliban do not differentiate on religion or who is doing what politically. They want anyone who can help the Afghan people. They just want to invite them. They want them to invest in Afghanistan.
Hello and welcome to The Gist on Strat News Global. Good evening, I am Surya Gangadharan. This evening we have 2 interviews for you on The Gist, both recorded at the recently concluded SCO Foreign Ministers meeting in Goa. The first is with Arshad Yusufzai. He is a Pakistani journalist based in Peshawar, capital of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and he is a frequent visitor to Afghanistan. So our talk centered on Afghanistan and the situation there. He talks about the Taliban, the internal situation in Afghanistan, reports of discord within the top Taliban leadership over issues like women's education and empowerment, also about the role of China, India of course, and ties across the Durand Line with Pakistan. So Arshad Yusufzai first.
Arshad sir, what is your reading of the situation in Afghanistan? You travel there frequently.
So if we talk about security in Afghanistan, security is, I would say, reliable enough that one can go out without any fear. Across the country you can travel, so there's no such problems. Because I've been to Afghanistan in the past 3 months or 4 months. I've been there like 3 times already. But since the takeover of the Taliban, it's just like 7th or 8th visit. And I stay there for many days. I travel alone often, so I don't find anything that scares me, or I would say, but I don't feel uncomfortable in Afghanistan. Security-wise, the country is doing very well. However, the poverty ratio, or people's lives have suffered a lot because toll trade is happening, borders are closed to all the countries. That is a concern that the Afghan interim government is realizing, but the problem still says if the international community is helping or not, because it depends on the international community if their help continues, and if they want to provide to the Afghans, trade should be allowed, which is not happening yet.
Yeah. So at this point, the Afghan-Pakistan border is open, or
border is open. The Chaman border between Kandahar and Feta Chaman, it's open in Kurdistan. And then also Torkham is open. Other 2 main crossings are open as well. They're in Lachi and Ulaupan. This is for people to cross over, mostly Asians who come for treatment to Pakistan. They're using it. And then, the goods that Afghanistan or Pakistan provide each other, mostly medicine or food, that is happening as well. But other than that, nothing much is happening. So the trade has reduced in that sense.
what about we keep hearing reports about divisions within the Taliban and some of the other groups that are affiliated to it. What is your reading?
Well, it's the face of the Taliban is a militia. These are people from different groups, people from different, the tribes, the Pashtun tribes. It's not completely Pashtun. There are Tajiks and Uzbeks as well, but mainly Pashtuns and different tribes. So that difference remains. But when we talk about the Afghan Taliban, that is the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, I would give them credit for one thing, that the unity has always remained top priority for them. And for the unity, to keep it intact, they can compromise on many things within each other. And that's why the differences that emerge, like, we can talk about the difference on girls' education. There are two sides that, one is pro-education, the model brothers we call them, the model Taliban, they do favor girls' education and they're advocating for it. And people who are advocating includes the big names, like the interior minister, for example, or the deputy prime ministers, rather and the Saddam Hanafi. There are others in fact who voiced their concerns about the ban on the continual ban on girls' education. Another issue that is also causing this division on on the mental level or on the idea level, on the ideas level, is women empowerment. So there are people like those who are supporting girls' education. The same people who are supporting women empowerment. However, the resistance or the disagreement comes from the old school, I would say, or the hardline mullahs, the ulamas, who interpret Sharia that women should not be allowed to work. That's the main difference between the two, or the groups of Taliban.
So we keep seeing reports of women out in the streets, demonstrating, protesting. These now appear to have died out.
Yeah, there were, in the past 18 months, I've seen only a few such demonstrations.
But unusual for Afghan.
Initially, these were, they were attractive, women would join them, but as you mentioned, they have died out. I haven't seen the Taliban showing any aggression as they would in the past, in their first, the first version of the Taliban. They allow these protests, although they don't like it, but they allow it. But they have died out. And like you mentioned, it's unusual for Afghan women, that's true, but these are educated women who were able to help themselves, who got education, and they were getting into a society or a lifestyle where they can protest for their rights.
Yeah.
So those are the people who go out and do protests.
So when it comes to foreign countries and their involvement in Afghanistan, India recently opened its embassy there. I'm told the Chinese are very active. Will you tell us something about that?
Yeah. So basically, the Afghan Taliban have their view that they want to have relations with all the nations of the world. That's why they, the ones who want to have relations with the West, they also want to have relations with the neighbors. Their policy is straight. The elders that I meet, the Taliban elders that I meet regularly, they say that for them, the most important ones are their 6 neighbors. Then plus 2, that is Russia and China. China is also a neighbor, but then, and then comes countries like India, which is a big economy and has always helped the Afghan people in the country. So the Taliban do not differentiate on religion or, who is doing what politically. They want anyone who can help the Afghan people. They just want to invite them. They want them to invest in Afghanistan. And for that matter, China is one of the countries who is doing a lot. That's why the Taliban are pretty happy with what China has been offering. It's the reconstruction of the country, although they complain sometimes that not enough has been done. But that's why, Chinese are promising things, and they are investing in Afghanistan. So China has become a priority for Afghan Taliban, yes. And that is because the Chinese have the means to do things in Afghanistan. And it means that they are providing people jobs, and there's probably aid given to Afghanistan as well. So China is a priority, yes, in that.
So for the Taliban to change track, and become a more liberal kind of setup, if you want to call it that, what are they prepared to do, and what is the world community demanding?
Well, the international community has been demanding on equal rights for women. Women rights is a priority. They have been talking about girls' education. And these are the 2 burning issues where the Afghan Taliban have so far not delivered as much as the world would expect them. But then again, the Afghan Taliban also have their reservations and their complaints. They say that we have done this, the world should do this now. Like, each one to copy or, follow the steps. They are expecting the world, particularly the Western world, to do more in terms of investing in education, in segregated education for women. They also are expecting recognition from the international community, which is not happening till now. That is one of the priorities. They also want to have an end on the ban on their elders, the international, the UN sanction on their elders to travel across the world. That is one of the concerns. And then they do not want to be dictated. If someone wants to give them aid, they do not want to be dictated. And then they want to have a free policy to have friendships or trade with anyone they want. So yes, they are liberal in that sense. When it comes to what they have done, they the thinking of the Taliban elders, or at least those who are in the ministries, who are taking the positions. I'm not talking about the religious elders, but the ones who are controlling the government, they want to have interaction with the world because they see that without having relations with the world, nobody can survive. And it is important for the country as well as for the world to have relations with Afghanistan. And then they also point backwards to their first term out in the government that no interaction with the world caused them problems.
Tell us something about Afghanistan and Pakistan. How are relations there? Is it we keep reading reports about some kind of cross-border attacks and all?
Yeah, there were some skirmishes in the past on the Durand Line, and it's always initiated from a small little thing that happens on the border between soldiers. Unfortunately, across the border we have a militia who's in power now. They don't have a regular training or way of interacting with the force on the border. So and then again, it's just usually the forces, they just create hype of things. So it happens sometimes, and then on the border crossings as well, things happen that people want to do things in their own way, while the security forces on the border or the border patrols have to follow protocols. When they are not respected, then there are issues. Sometimes people just want to hurry things, which does not happen, and then people do not have the temperament, and when people are not happy on that side of the border, the Afghan Taliban are not happy. So that is one of the issues. Other than that, the Afghan Taliban have been expecting Pakistan to do more in terms of business with Afghanistan, because they believe that Pakistan can provide more to Afghanistan, and they expect Pakistan to provide more. However, Pakistan itself is concerned about its own economical situation in the country, as well as, they cannot help Afghanistan out of the way because Afghanistan is still an unrecognized government is operating there, and they are still under sanctions. So Pakistan do not want to get in trouble in that regard as well.
So that was Arshad Yusufzai, a freelance journalist based in Peshawar in Pakistan. My second interview is with Azaz Sayed, a journalist who works for GeoNews and for CNN.
Okay, Azaz Sayed, you're been to India before. What's your reaction about, what is the initial reaction when the SEO summit was to be held here, and there was all this talk about, whether Mr. Bilawal will visit, Defense Minister didn't come. What was your initial, what is the response you were getting from within the system in Pakistan?
In Pakistan, initially decision was not taken quickly, but deliberations were made. Then Pakistani authorities, after proper deliberations, they decided that Pakistani Foreign Minister should go. And of course, the lead decision in decision making, the lead role was the role of Pakistani Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. He wanted to come himself. And we know in Pakistan that both the countries don't expect a big breakthrough here. There are multiple reasons. India is in the process of elections. Pakistan is going in the elections. So both the governments won't take this matter in resolving this issue, which is very sensitive. And there are elements in both the countries which always criticize whatever goes between the two countries. So this opportunity which has come in terms of SEO's foreign ministers meeting is not for big breakthrough, but this is a step towards making an environment for the possible future of both the countries after the elections in India and after the elections in Pakistan. So we can expect that something can happen, not this year, not during this event, but after the elections in India and Pakistan.
Was there any reference to any request either by India or by Pakistan for a one-on-one meeting between the two foreign ministers?
Pakistanis have not requested any one-on-one meeting with or any bilateral meeting with Indian authorities, and same is from the India side. Although India is hosting this ceremony, this function, and this conference, but no, I don't expect any meeting. But yes, this can happen that both the foreign minister they can shake hands, they can take each other away, they can talk. Yes, this, and if this happens, that would be a big breakthrough. I would call it a big breakthrough if Indian foreign minister takes Pakistani from foreign minister away and talks something, or Pakistani foreign minister talks to him something. So that would be a breakthrough. But shaking hand with between the two foreign ministers in itself is a development.
Tell me, Azaz, what is the mood in Pakistan vis-a-vis India?
Well, in terms of mood towards India is very positive, I tell you. Traditionally, Pakistani political parties, they used to intend having good relations with India, and we have an establishment which would always sometimes create hurdles for whenever there was a step taken by Pakistani government to have good relations, we also had hurdles by the Pakistani establishment. This time, Pakistani establishment is not a hurdle. Pakistani establishment instead has facilitated the negotiations during Imran Khan's tenure. There were backdoor parlays. The military was there. The intelligence was there. Pakistani intelligence and military was supporting all the backdoor parlays, and the former Pakistani military army chief, General Bajwa, was very positive. The current army chief, General Asim Munir, is also positive, and he's not critical to the relations with the neighboring countries. So there is no problem. But the problem is political instability, which Pakistan has, and of course, India is also going through the elections, and Pakistan is on the brink of elections. So this is the issue.
Azaz, thank you.
That's all we have for you on The Gist for this evening. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media and Twitter. Thank you and good night.